Okay, I think it was us for this evening. Plus, just a reminder, Susan is on Zoom. We can't see her, but she can hear us and we can hear her. And Susan, if you need to interject, just yell real loud, so we'll know that you want to talk to us. So we'll call the meeting to order. If you'll join us in a short word of prayer. Heavenly Father, as we begin this meeting, we ask for your guidance. Help us speak with respect, listen with open hearts, and work together for the greater good of our community. Amen. And now if you'll join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. So our first item on the agenda is to approve the meetings from or minutes rather from the last meeting in September. They are in our packet for review. And I think we circulated those before the meeting, so everybody would have a chance to read over them. Are there any changes? And if not, do we have a motion to accept?
So moved. Second.
All right, that done. Sean, are there any staff updates?
Good evening, everyone. Madam Chairwoman, I appreciate you bearing with us with some technical issues tonight. I apologize on those. I do have a brief update to share with the board. I got the opportunity last week to meet with Congressman Rouser's staff, in addition with the Great State Trails Coalition. I always get that tongue-tied, so I want to slow down when I say that. And their lobbyist, Chase Horton, who represents Maynard Nexing Group. And we discussed multiple topics on which trails being beneficial to the 7th District for Congressman Rouser. And primarily the goal of that meeting was to request funding through pedestrian bicycle safety, healthy recreation, attractive destinations, connecting communities, and so forth. This funding is that we're seeking for, seeking support for, is coming out of the Transportation Alternatives Program, TAP for short, Recreational Trails Program, that's the RTP, the Active Transportation Infrastructure Investment Program, ATIIP, and multi-model federal discretionary grants in the next Surface Transportation Reauthorization. So the Surface Transportation Reauthorization captures those programs amongst others in which the congressman can offer support, hopefully to go to the Senate side and then receive funding. And then we mentioned in our conversation that day several projects that had already been funded. Those coming out of primarily coastal areas, Brunswick County, Wilmington, there's several there, Carolina Beach, Leland, Belleville, New Hanover County, Pender County, and Curie Beach. Those are all examples that we emphasize to Congressman Rouser's staff of the impact that these programs are already having. And then you may recall that we actually had a letter of support before the Board of Commissioners a couple meetings ago seeking support for this program. And there were 3 projects in this letter that were highlighted. One of those being the White Lake Multi-Use Path. I want to briefly read to you the verbiage from that. The town of White Lake is one of several communities involved in the Creating Outdoor Recreation Economies Core program that's run by the North Carolina Department of Commerce Rural Economic Development Division. The White Lake Multi-Use Path is nearing the final stages of design, and there are already plans to extend a portion of the path and sidewalks along White Lake Drive. Federal funding is instrumental in completing the remaining segments, ultimately connecting the lake and generating meaningful economic impact both locally and regionally through the links to the East Coast Greenway and the Mountains to Sea Trail. I do have a copy of this letter for all of you tonight. I will tell you that I'm already working with Bladen County and Elizabethtown to co-sign this letter. One takeaway we got from Congressman Rouser's office was to continue to whip up support There is unfortunately a shutdown taking place, so some of these conversations have stalled. However, that gives us an opportunity to get more support here locally to advance the initiative. So I'm going to pass out a copy of this, and I do have a copy for the clerk to insert into the minutes as well. If there are no questions, Madam Chairman.
Did they give, so when he said to continue to drum up support, did they give examples of what they thought that might look like?
More so elected officials.
Okay.
They want to hear from elected officials within the district. I think that always carries weight, especially at the Washington DC scene. But I think in having conversations with elected officials, the examples that were given were just emphasis on outdoor recreation within the community and the benefits that we see in the community.
Okay.
When I spoke about White Lake, I talked about really the multi-use path being the backbone of our economy in a lot of ways that connects both residential communities to commercial communities, but also all the different aspects that it unlocks for tourism and all the support we've received primarily through multi-use grant applications through businesses that are already looking to expand if that type of infrastructure were available. And then, of course, it does give us an opportunity to expand our footprint in the outdoor recreation by multiple, as we've already seen, some types of events that have taken place. But multiple events, and we're starting to see partnerships form. So all these were examples that I gave Congressman Reisiger's office, specifically about White Lake, but that was some of the feedback we did receive.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to new business. So we have an application to join our board. Do we have that in the packet? I didn't see that.
We typically don't include the
Okay.
applications in the packet. There is some information on there that may not be public.
Okay, that's fine. I just wanted to make sure that I didn't need to point something out to everyone, but it's for Alice Warren to join. What do we need to do, Sean? Just.
Well, a recommendation from the board would be a good start.
Okay.
I have the application. If there's any questions, Ms. Warren is here. Should there be any questions directly to her, that's the best way to ask questions directly to the
Sure.
applicant. But if there are no questions from the board, or if Ms. Warren doesn't want to engage with the board and give any thoughts from her side, then a recommendation to the board of commissioners for appointment would be the next step.
Well, since we've not seen the application, can we just ask you to introduce yourself and express why you're interested in joining this advisory council?
Sure. I appreciate you all reviewing my application tonight, and I will say White Lake is my second home. I've been here 73 years. I was actually swimming a little bit before I was crawling and walking, believe it or not. But at that time we had a white sandy front beach, so things have changed a little bit on the lakefront. I'm now retired, grandmother of 2 that I'm looking forward to continuing the legacy of our family here at the lake. I'm a retiree of NC State University. I was there 39 years. Thoroughly enjoyed my experience there in non-credit continuing education, and did a lot of work with outside the university groups that wanted to come back to us for training and retraining. The McKimmon Center, if you've ever been to our campus, I know Aaron knows where it was one of the responsibilities that I had. I've been in some form of recreation my whole life, obviously all the water sports, skiing, all that kind of stuff. When I was at the state fair last Friday night, it brought back fond memories of putting on a water ski show on the pond at the back of the fairgrounds. And I remember wearing a white bathing suit with a red and blue stripe, and after they swung us around, we were in the flag presentation part. They turned us back around to the man-made beach there on the pond, and when our suits got wet, they were then tan because the water was so yucky. But that brought back fond memories of what the ski hills did in those early days. I'm a big snow skier. I'm a solo whitewater paddler for years. My husband and I have taught dance, all varieties of dance and shag. I've been hang gliding. I've flown in a tube, like a parachute jump kind of thing. So anytime I have an opportunity to be outside, enjoy the nature, that's where I want to be. And I want to see White Lake continue to thrive and have more activities. I thoroughly thought the whole thing with the great trails last week with the little stations and all of that was such a wonderful start to getting us more involved. We've actually, as a family, used the walking path right much. I now care for my husband, who's a stroke survivor, but has lost the use of his left arm and left leg, but he can ride a trike. And so we go over a lot of times, and the other guys in the family will ride with Kim, and the rest of us will walk the path on occasion. So we still are interested in seeing recreation be a healthy thing for White Lake. And I also think it will create a greater sense of safety within the community, because more of us will know each other, be working together, and will be more observant about what's going on around us at the lake. So if selected, I would be honored and would give it my 100%. So thank you. But does anybody have any questions?
Thank you for that.
Okay.
I do have a comment.
Yes, ma'am.
The saying pond is very generous about that body of water.
Well, I was trying to be kind. Not much bigger than it is.
Oh, man.
Sort of went around. That's all. Big enough to go there. Yeah,
And fly hang glider.
yeah. And have a deep water barefoot start.
And everybody survived.
Yeah.
I make a motion that we accept the recommendation of Alice Warren to participate on this board.
I second it.
And if you'll write a letter to the town for recommending that.
Okay.
Does she need to get that to you so it does need to?
To Tina, and I think Tina may already have some language ready to go.
Okay.
I'm gonna check with her.
Okay, that sounds good. Thank you, Sean.
So just to make it official, all in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Great. Well, thank you. Susie, you also went to the Bladen County Tourism Development Workshop. Do you have any additional report out from what Sean shared with us earlier?
Not really. It was a really good gathering. It was a good form of networking too, because even though I live here all the time, there were several people that I met that I did not know before, and several businesses that I was completely unaware of. I did get a few ideas of things that were mentioned. Mr. Kavanaugh had some great ideas during his presentation part of the program. And it was nothing concrete, but it made me think of little things that we could do for outdoor recreation. So it was all in all, it was a good use of time.
Good. Thank you for going to represent us. And we also had the Great Trails Day Scavenger Hunt on the 18th. The signs look great, by the way. So just on behalf of the board, we appreciate the support for those because we are going to use them again in February. But does anybody want to give a brief report out on the event itself? Or I can.
Well, it was a beautiful day.
It was.
It was not highly attended. And we have already had conversations about what to do just as friends, what to do to get people out. But it was so worthwhile, y'all. The work and effort that Terry put into getting this organized was amazing. The signage was great. The stations looked great. Everything was manned, and we just, and we're not sure why. Is it time of year, which can't be changed because it's the Great Trails State Day? We are a seasonal community in many ways. So I feel like that's part of it. And you all, most of us were there, so if you have other comments, please jump in, but this is not over. We learned a lot from this experience, and next year is going to be amazing.
We could use the same one again.
We could.
We just need a new audience.
Mhm.
Well, in fact, that is item number, well, D. So on February 14th next year, there's another trails event. That's the countywide trails event. And we had discussed reusing those same signs and renewing our partnership with the White Lake Friends Group, just kind of replicating that activity. So, I mean, good news, bad news, since it wasn't attended that well the first time, it's not like we're gonna discourage a lot of people from coming because they've seen it before. But it also gives us another opportunity to think about ways between now and then to really get the word out about this event, so.
If I could
Sure.
add more information on the February event. The expo for Trail Fest will be at Camp Clearwater, 9 to 6 on Saturday.
Okay.
So businesses across the state that are interested in our Trail Fest. And by the way, Trail Fest is something that is a vision of North Carolina cultural, what is the other, what is it? Anyone?
Natural
Environmental,
resources.
cultural resources, yeah.
That's who creates Trail Fest, and there are Trail Fests all across the state throughout the year. So hopefully, in the past, when we made it a big event, there were a lot of people from the triangle that came.
Okay.
And businesses built the farmer's market in years past. But the expo is going to be at Camp Clearwater. And Adam is cooking Brunswick stew and chicken pastry for dinner that Saturday night. And there'll be bonfire. The dinner is a fundraiser for Mountain to See. So it's going to have more of a White Lake flavor and no Elizabethtown connection this year. So
Okay.
it's our chance to really gather the people, and show them what we have.
And I mean, if we're setting up in the same place we did on Saturday, which I'm assuming we're right there, there's no reason they would miss us.
Well, we had talked about going in on the multi-use trail in February, because multi-use trail is one of the ones they have listed that it's a Bladen County trail.
Okay. I mean,
Whose event is this? Is this Friends of White Lake or is this?
No, it's a statewide effort.
It's a statewide event.
And they, like Terry said, they choose different locations, like Trail Weekend might be in Randolph County one weekend, or it might be on the coast, or
So it just moved.
it might be
around.
here in February.
So
Yeah.
how is that, what I'm trying to get at, so how is that publicized?
Based on who attended the first year that it was done, I think a lot of advertising must be done to people who make that their thing to get out
Okay,
on different trails.
so I think if we,
And
Sure.
yeah, and here it's being publicized by the Tourism Committee of Bladen County.
okay, and we just might want to look and see if we can help promote that. I mean, often that's the problem. It's just not getting out, to different people. It's just to a fixed group. But maybe through, the town and through the friends group, we can help with that.
I
Get
would
more people
love,
there.
I mean, my dream for that weekend this year is to reach the people in Bladen County. That nobody has any idea what great trails we have. And that was evidence the first year, because I think I did 3 of the guided trails. I did not see anybody I knew the entire day, whether it was at Jones Lake or Bay Tree or Singletary. Nobody that I knew.
Well, can we enlist help from the tourism authority, the chamber, the school system?
Yeah, the chamber is involved in the tourism committee.
Well, if the
School
tour,
system is good because last year I was doing EOG review and there was a story about state parks. And I asked my students, I said, how many of you have been to a state park? Crickets. And so I rephrased the question and said, how many of you have been to Jones Lake? Well, then I got just a few hands. But I went to Jones Lake and got their old stickers for first day hike. And I took them back to school. And as I shared that story with other classes, I said, I'm going to give you a sticker, but I expect you to go check out Jones Lake. And whether they were telling me the truth or not, we will never know. But the very next week, several of them cousins had gone to Jones Lake, and it was like a new revelation to them. And they're not the only ones. I mean, we just need to build that trail culture, I think.
well, I know in Cumberland County, it can be complicated getting the school system to send out anything. You know, have to go through a lot of hoops of what they will send to their students and the parents, but maybe we can reach out to Bladen County. There's got to be a communications person who could help us. I'm just thinking this is such a great event. It's free, it's family friendly. If we could help to promote it and get more people to come. I mean, sometimes it just, you spend a little money on Facebook and you reach lots and lots of people.
That question has come up several times for several different things. So I will make it a point to check at the board. I know one of the people who goes around to events and takes pictures and writes it up for Facebook. I think her name is Amy, but I will look into that and figure out who she is and get in touch with her.
Also, the Mountain to Sea Trail comes from the county line through Bladen County near 53. And there's a new bridge on Sweet Home Church Road, which probably means nothing to you. Do you know when you're going to town before you cross Turnbull Creek? There's a road to the right. It says Mountain to Sea Trail that way.
Okay.
Mountain to Sea Trail is building a new bridge over Turnbull Creek, and it should be finished about that time. So I'm sure they're gonna want to show that off.
Are there any other ideas on how we could help promote the event? How, as the recreation board, we could help get the word out for the February event?
So we're gonna do the scavenger hunt again.
Well, that's the next question.
Okay.
So do we want to repeat the partnership with White Lake Friends and the activity of the signs, you know, the educational activity with White Lake Friends? We had discussed it at a previous meeting, but just to make a formal request of that. And if so, is there a motion?
Can I ask something?
Yes.
I'm wondering if are there many Boy Scout or Girl Scout troops in the area that might participate relative, because there's merit badges I know related to trails and hiking.
That's a good idea.
So
You want me to, my son works for Scouts. Do you want me to check with him?
Oh,
It
perfect.
doesn't work for Bladen County, but he can find out who.
Yeah, that would be great.
Okay.
And I certainly make a motion that we repeat the trails stations that we had set up on Saturday again, because the presentation was outstanding.
Do we have a second to that motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, now we have, I just wanted to follow up Terry and I had mentioned at the last meeting that we had reached out to the DOT. And there is email in your packet that we received back from Ken Clark. I'm not gonna read the whole thing, but it just says that the environmental folks did a field review. And they deemed that that area along 701 is still considered wetlands, but not the highest quality wetlands. And so then he goes on to say, you know, what options are and how much it may cost to put the trail in that area. He did also say, and I thought this was interesting, that the department, again, that's the North Carolina DOT, is going to make an attempt to secure pedestrian funding for this project through the carbon reduction initiatives, but it's not guaranteed. And he advised us to keep other options open, but goes on to say that they'd have an idea around December whether or not the project would be picked up for funding. So I did a schedule send in Gmail to follow up with him in January just to see, because if I don't do it now, I'll forget. There's no way I'll remember in January. So that email will go out on our behalf to ask what they heard about that funding. So that just kind of closes the loop on that question that we had asked of them. So. The other thing that has come up in our meetings was working with the local Chamber of Commerce to post and promote events. And I did reach out to Amy Hudson to see if she would be available to either attend tonight. Tonight she's at Trunk or Treat down at the library. But in future meetings, if she might be able to attend, and she was gonna check her schedule, she's got some conflicts with another commitment. But she is aware that we are interested in working with her to help make sure that all of our chamber members are getting their events posted. So that's the other sort of the list in your packet here, the chamber members. So I just went into the Elizabethtown White Lake Chamber of Commerce website and wrote down the names of all the current members who are in White Lake who pay for membership in that board, I guess. So I guess the question for us to think about is what would be the best way for us as a board to kind of reach out to our local chamber members, remind them that there is an events calendar, encourage them to post their events, you know, anything we can do to, because they do already have a lot of events that we just don't hear about. So that's one avenue we can pursue. And then if they wanted to add additional events, again, that would be a way to start promoting those. So I'm open to ideas of how we all think this would, what might be our best strategies for connecting with our chamber members.
Well, we do already have permission to manipulate the calendar with the chamber. So we can, of course, Amy she approves everything that you potentially want to post on there, but we have that. We need to make sure we use that. It's kind of easy for things to fall off of our radar, or it is for me anyway. So, and there are opportunities for the Recreation Advisory Board to speak at a chamber. Well, the town of White Lake is a member of the Chamber of Commerce, so I'm sure we could speak at one of the morning meetings, a representative among us.
Kathy, in fact, they do a breakfast meeting, members breakfast meeting once a month. Bet you could probably schedule some type of presentation at one of those upcoming meetings.
For the friends, so I'm sure we could do that.
Are they well attended? Is my question. Are we gonna connect with the businesses that are holding events along? And I mean, I'm thinking again, primarily summer, because that's the busy season and when all these events tend to happen. Not that we do want to encourage things in the shoulder seasons, but I think as a start, let's just get the word out from everything that's going on in the summer.
Yep.
I think they're pretty well attended. I've been
Okay.
to a couple. The one that I remember going to with really big attendance was actually Ben Jones was the speaker from Mountain to Sea Trail. So people turned out for that. So I think they would be interested in what we are doing as well, because I don't think that people know we're here yet. I think it's a good way to get the word out.
So if these are members of the chamber, can we get names and email addresses and maybe send them an email that says, this is who we are, this is what we suggest you do, here's a link to update?
Well, so.
Right, but can we get their contact
Yeah, the
information?
contact information.
And just send them an email from the council or from the Friends group and kind of tell them, give them
Mhm.
instructions on how to list their events.
I think that is a great idea, and it makes me wonder if we should, as a group, appoint someone here to be a contact with the Chamber of Commerce directly, that, you know, there's one voice that's always giving Amy information. And something else we've talked about, I know that paper is cumbersome and we're becoming a paperless society, but if you've been over to the office, there are places where if we had a brochure or a poster or some kind of flyer, it could be very simple and we wouldn't need a lot over there about the outdoor, if this is permissible from the town council, that we could have a presence when we aren't there. People could realize that we even exist.
Oh, you're saying put something in the chamber.
On display. You know how when you stop at a visitor center, when you cross the line between states, and there's so much information there, but oh my goodness, we've done that 1,000 times when we stopped and just got back in the car with a handful of things we wanted to see in the area. So even though it's all online, sometimes just that visual in front of you helps.
And I think, I may be mistaken, but I think I heard mentioned that anything that we turn in or anyone turns into the chamber office, Amy also puts that information in other places around the county,
Mhm.
so it wouldn't be just that one location if we gave her enough.
That's true, because there's multiple opportunities at the farmer's market to put papers out of some kind. And the last time I saw that the Christmas lights at Lumille was going to happen this year was when I was inside the last week, already advertised inside the farmer's market. And it was a poster on the door right in front of my face as I was going out. But it was a nice reminder that that will happen again.
Maybe invite the people on the list to a meeting in the spring.
On the chamber list,
Uh-huh.
which
To this
There
meeting.
was,
which is in your notes, in this notebook, by the way.
there was, I think that guy was from Grassley's. Well, we didn't know who he was, but I like to show them. I think it's Carolyn's husband.
The tourism thing.
Yeah, and I've never, they don't contribute to Word Festival, I never see a face for that business, but he was at that tourism summit. So I think they're looking for ways, maybe we can be that avenue for them.
Not only that, but by inviting them to one of these meetings, they can see what we're about.
Yeah.
And maybe be more inclined to play with us.
And I talked to Timbo and asked if he would be interested in a cornhole tournament that y'all could help with at his restaurant, something like that.
You
I
mean
mean, in
for
my
trail?
mind, it would be ideal if we could get, shoot, even if 4 of them showed up, 4 of our local businesses, and we could brainstorm together, okay, can everybody pick one thing you want to do? And a date you want to do it, and we'll help you promote it. I mean, I think cornhole's a great idea and it's a great fit for his location. And, you know, if we had some other businesses along White Lake Drive that each took an event and said, we're gonna do this in June, we're gonna do this in July.
And by doing it that way and inviting them to come to us, then that does not leave us picking and choosing who we're going to ask.
Yes, that's a good point.
So nobody feels left out. It falls in your court. If you want to participate.
So I like that idea. My question is, what is the best way for us to get in touch with everyone? As inclusively as possible. Because like you said, I'd rather more people come than just not, I mean. The chamber members do not necessarily represent all the businesses on White Lake Drive. There are a few that aren't represented.
Quite a few.
Well, I think inviting them with a letter to come to this meeting is a starting place. I think if we all look at that list and maybe, I mean, if we could commit to select the people that we know well and would be very comfortable, asking. And we don't have to do that necessarily tonight, but we all probably know everybody on this list. So,
Why don't we start by deciding when we would like to have that meeting?
Okay,
Because we're not meeting again until January, right?
well, we don't have to meet again until January, so, I mean. If we want to meet in November, or December, I think we can, we would just have to move our meeting date because there's fall holidays, so. And I mean, I'll just speak for myself, I know as we get closer to the holiday season, it just gets more and more hectic, so in a way. Maybe pushing this until January gives us time to really do the outreach, get it on people's calendar so they can set that date aside, and it's not in conflict with, oh, we'll already have this. Family event planned, so I can't attend. I mean, maybe this is a good, we've got a good buffer to get it out there.
yeah, I think that's really wise. Asking anyone to do anything during the holiday season is probably not going to be well received. But when January gets here and we're looking at spring on the way, there's a lot more enthusiasm.
What's the rule on food in this room?
It's not a question of food as much as it is alcohol, right?
I mean, could we have snacks?
Yeah, I can see why not. We've had several meetings at the council level before we provide refreshments and even dinner. Depending on the meeting and the setting, so I don't think there's any problem.
The rooms for rent, so people have food all.
Back up a little bit. I'm a little unclear. So we want to invite these people to come to this meeting in January. What do we want them to do? What are we asking of them?
Well, at this stage, I don't feel like we're asking anything of them,
Well,
other than to be aware. We're here and what we are doing affects you.
Right.
So
So are we gonna send a letter or send an email out soon that says, this is who we are, this is what we're trying to do for all of us? And asking them to help us publicize their events? Is that what okay, so we want to do that soon. We don't want to wait till January for that, right?
I don't think there will be any events that we'll miss if we wait until January.
Yeah,
But go ahead.
go ahead and
Go
send.
ahead.
Give them a safe
Yeah.
date.
Yeah, go ahead and send it and have them start thinking about this and kind of explain what the advisory council does, and let them know our meetings and tell them they are always welcome to come. But-
Yeah,
And then you're also, someone's gonna go to a chamber event and talk about it as well.
I don't know what their schedule will look like between now and January.
She books about 3 months out. It took me 3 months to get on the agenda for the White Lake Friends. I'm not saying that happens every time, but if we do this, I feel like we need to meet again.
Yeah,
But the
or
sooner
push the
better.
invitation out
Yeah.
until February.
Just such a busy time.
I'm open either way.
Susan? Can she can't hear us? She can. Was hoping she would weigh in on this.
I'm flexible. It sounds like you know, February is of course closer to spring, and so if we're trying to get some things going by then, and, you know, hopefully we could get some participation, get people to come in January to the meeting. I missed the part about, can we have a meeting with refreshments in that room? Was that?
Yes.
Yes.
We can, okay. And that would that be like at our regular 6 o'clock meeting or a different time? Since there's a meeting I know at 7 that comes right in behind it.
Yeah, I think if we did it at 6 o'clock, we'd devote the entire meeting to that topic.
Would you just suggesting like an open forum? What would we be talking about? I just feel like some things have to happen before they come to this meeting. Some type of
So
outreach.
if it's
communication.
me planning it, and again, I'm just spitballing here and open to suggestions. I think we could write a letter from the board introducing ourselves, who we are, you know, we're a new advisory board and our mission of promoting recreation at the lake that we meet. Well, I guess we can't say every month. We meet at least quarterly. Regularly, that's a good word. At 6 p.m. Thursdays at Town Hall, and they're invited to the meetings that I think maybe referring them to the town website to find the meeting schedule. But that we are anticipating holding a meeting, whatever the date is in January. And that we would invite them to come and talk to us about events they are already having at their places of business, and maybe brainstorming new events that they might like to add to a calendar that we could then in turn help promote. That would be how I would approach it. And then during the actual meeting itself, it would be more of a, what are you doing? Can we get these ideas down on paper? I think the big thing is probably going to be getting commitments, right? So I know that's one of the things that we as a board were a little hesitant to take on doing activities ourselves, because as 6 people, it's maybe a lot to think about putting on 4 to 6 events a year. But if we could get the businesses to say, I will do this month and I will do this month, you know, if they each just took one thing a month, then that's one time out of the year that they're committing to holding some sort of event that we will then help promote.
Sean, are these meetings open to the public?
Absolutely. And they are recorded.
So the introductory meeting could be just a meet and greet, could it not? Where we don't, maybe we don't really. Sandy, I know you work with some really significant organizations in Fayetteville. I really trust your judgment. I'm just wondering if just to say, come to our meeting, see who we are.
But I feel like there's things we can do now to have them come and it's productive.
Yeah, I
Like-
wouldn't want them to come and feel like that didn't relate
Yeah,
to
that's
me.
not gonna, and if we don't want them to come and tell us about their events, we want them to submit any events they have planned for 2026 in advance, and we collectively talk about how can we cross promote all of these events? How can we expand this community calendar, everybody's event to promote tourism? I can just envision people coming up one by one telling us about their events. So I think it's a great idea to invite them, but I think we need to communicate. I mean, even if we took this list and divided them up and sent a letter, sent an email, and went and personally visited them and said, this is what we're trying to do. Will you help us? And then that way in January, we have got a pretty healthy list. We're kind of halfway there. And that will get people excited, and that will get them to start thinking about, well, gosh, if I'm going to have some help promoting this, then I'm going to plan some things.
I think that sounds like a great idea. I don't know that I wouldn't push it back to February though. Just to give us that breathing room and to give them that breathing room, because I feel like from next Friday night on, it's going to be Oh, I've just got so much to do. I cannot add another, not personally, but
Yeah.
in general.
But I think we
It's
need to
the-
go ahead and get the communication out, get them to
Yes.
start thinking about
I agree.
this. I mean, most people are thinking about next year.
Mm.
and
But
they're
I
thinking-
think you're right, so whoever said it, that we probably need to meet again as well before we have the meeting. So if we start communicating, start putting our heads together, but come together as this group in
Mhm.
January.
Mhm.
And then be ready in February to have a bigger, invite them in.
And that's still well before
Yeah.
the season starts. and-
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, do we have this list with contact information? Is that something we can get? Like a chamber directory that lists these people with names and emails and all of
The
that?
chamber directory lists what you see here, and then if there is a website for the business. It didn't
There's no
necessarily.
contact information.
Not that I recall. I don't recall seeing, just again, off the top of my head, bobsmith@gmail.com. Like there was
Really?
nothing like that. I don't recall seeing that.
Well, let's just
But
see
I
what we've got.
Could be
because-
misremembering.
Yeah.
Okay.
Camp Clearwater and Melwood Court would be one person.
Right.
Friends of Mountain to Sea, who would that be? Ben? Would that be Carl? Carl DeAndre. Camp Clearwater, I guess, is Greg at this point, right? Greg Martin. Is that the kind of thing we need to know, just to figure out who we need to talk to and who wants to talk to whom?
Yes.
So y'all fill in the ones that you know. And see what we have.
Traditions around the frisbee or often.
So our list is not gonna be as long as it looks right now.
Ron Edwards. Is he on there for Silver Sand?
Silver Sands is on here. There's one marketing person for all of Grand Regal Golston's, right? Does anybody know her name? Church Cameron.
Is that the Halloween event?
Where's the White Lake, Michigan?
So you think Sundeck is Carol Ann?
Yeah, they have, it. They can give it. We can just pull it from the website and they can give it to us.
Well, we can't get it from the website, but we may be able to email Amy
Yeah.
Hudson and get contacts.
Sean, are you town of White Lake?
Sure, or 10. All of us.
I just gave you the Grand Regal, sorry. White Lake Life, is that the new guy?
That's Ben Torres.
Man,
Yeah.
new one's Travis, yeah. You might walk out.
But he's not on here.
But see, that's the other thing. We want to make sure we're reaching out to the businesses that aren't on here as well.
White Lake Outdoors. Who's Water Festival, Jake or Janae?
So go around the lake. Somebody should represent Campbell. Somebody for the last one.
And the Waterside Marina is not on here.
Check that out.
All American Grill, Presley. H&D.
No, it closes.
We're not doing this till
She'll
February.
be gone. I'm telling you.
We're gonna talk to her
Buzzing
tomorrow.
in December.
God.
San Jose at the lake isn't here, but I remember San Jose and Elizabethtown being a member of the chamber. I don't know if it works if you're one restaurant, if both locations. Who else are we missing?
There's, oh, what about Carolyn's Court?
Oh, yeah.
Isley's.
Huey, there is. Probably a good contact for us.
Do you want you and I to work on the messaging?
I'm happy to help with the messaging.
Yes. I mean, we work on the messaging and they work on the list, so you know, everybody.
No, but he needs to be.
Ed and Susan a job.
And I think it would be nice to, you know, as part of this is, you know, go by and visit them. There's not an overwhelming number.
Right. And especially in the off season, I mean, it's not. Yes, so I think we've got a reasonable plan. Sandy and I are gonna work on some messaging. You all are gonna help us come up with contact. And we will meet again in January before inviting them to our February meeting. But I do think let's go ahead and send out kind of a save the date. Please come to the meeting in February. We'll be
And what
part
we're
of it.
asking, what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you for looking at the time because I don't want to go over. So there was also some conversation. This might be something again that we kind of table and discuss at the January, February meeting, but coming up with some way to, once we have this list of events, make sure that we're getting this promoted in town. And somebody mentioned a QR code that would link to the chamber events site. And I think the big question is how that would be paid for. That's what I was kind of hoping Amy might be available tonight. I don't know if, like, what did the chamber fees cover? Do we think maybe they could help pitch in and pay for? I mean, even if it was just a sign in each of the motels and businesses, QR code, local events.
I know the chamber uses QR codes a lot, so I wonder if they have access to one that's already paid, why they would, I wouldn't think they would have trouble sharing one.
Right. I can reach out to Amy and ask that question. And we'll go from there, I guess, but I'll either come back with an answer or we will continue to talk about this in January. How does that sound? Okay. And then just wanted to mention that the White Lake Friends website has added an events calendar as well. So that is another place that we can send and promote events as we hear of them. Because I think at this point, the more we get the word out there is really what we can do. Any other topics for tonight? If not, open forum. Would any of our guests like to speak, offer ideas? I'm really hoping Alice has a great suggestion.
What was the question? Yeah, but I mean, you did that.
Do you have anything to add? Susan, did you? I just don't want you to feel left out. Thank you for joining by Zoom. I guess she's good too.
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, then, well, do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
No, you.
All right. Thank you all.
Thank you.